So it's already recorded. It's valuable conversations that like I said, it's like thought leaders. So I'm sure you heard of thought leaders before.
I
So
consider myself to be one.
that's the thing when you get outside of the you know, I always say if you want to talk to the world, you gotta say something dumb. Not saying that the world is dumb or society is dumb, but you
Mhm.
know, the fast food internet conversations, sex, money, music, those are like the 10 or 5 box conversations that people regularly have. So it's like sometimes like I like to just go so whether it's me with my sons, whether it's me with all conversations, I don't even care if it's stupid, but most of the time stupid conversations are the conversations that's outside of the box of the norm.
Mm, mhm,
So when people
mhm.
when you say like I just posted a video the other day, will a diet stop a man from cheating? It's like that may sound stupid, you know, or is it okay for young boys to cry and dive into these conversations that is
Mhm,
no content for these conversations. So even the other one that I put up,
mhm,
how I don't reject love. Like
mhm,
those conversations, like where is that conversation? So when you got pieces like that, that's what I look at like body of work. Just like
mhm.
we may
Being a
feel these,
content creator.
yeah, we may feel these things, we may express them, we may have them at 2 o'clock in the morning with someone we care about, but we
Mhm,
won't be as bold as like, boy, I'm gonna throw this in the world.
mhm,
I'm gonna uncool myself to my friends. That's so hard. They can't have this conversation publicly, and I'm
mhm.
gonna allow it. Just put it in the world and allow people to. Conversations are a buffet.
Yeah, you're right about that. And I that's one of the things I thrive off of is being able to gain perspective from conversation. I think that's what my passion for it is based on, is rooted in, is because when I hear other people speak, and that's one reason why I wanted to make a comment about your post about not rejecting love. Um, it has such a meaning for me
Hmm.
when people are speaking, because, like you said, you're going to a place mentally that I can't go because your perspective is unique to you, just as mine is unique to me. So when you're taking me somewhere inside of your mind, inside of your world, inside of your perspectives, to me, that's like you giving me gold
Hmm.
because in some way or another, I believe, and I should say, I know that all information is actionable. I don't care what it is. All information is actionable in one way or another. That's why life is based on information. Evolution is based on information because it's action oriented. So when you're talking and you're giving pieces of yourself, I don't care if it's anger, I don't care if it's frustration, I don't care if it's happiness, joy, peace, whatever you're conveying to me, I'm taking the substance of that to be indicative of something that I can act on, something that I can do, or something that I can think of, something I can say, something I can perceive. To me, that all is valuable because I can do something with it. And to me, that's where our society, I think we need to start respecting each other to the point where we can see that and use it.
One valuable important thing. Life is rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Life is rhythm. Life is energy. Life is communication.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't respect you enough to listen to your rhythm, meaning, you know, I have to listen to you enough to see, okay, some people listen with their heart and some people listen with their mind, you know? So it's like I have to be patient enough to see where my information is landing.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens when you get offended and my intent is not meant to upset you.
Ooh, okay. I want to say something because I gave that post, I sent that post that you did about not rejecting love to one of my dear friends who is a male.
Hmm.
And we had a conversation about just that. I told him something I'm about to tell y'all, your
Hmm.
audience, that when we are speaking, okay, it's deep that you said you have to figure out where it's landing at. But I want to say something to you and all brothers that might be sensitive about whether or not you're hurting someone's feelings, okay? Because what I heard my brother say and what I'm hearing you, my brother, say is that it's a disconnect in the way communication is happening. If you're saying something that's not being perceived the way you meant it, so you have to kind of guard whether or not that person received it the way they should have or the way you wanted them to. Because in our understandings of each other, men and women, we start to realize, I really don't know how you think. I really don't know why you think what you think. I really don't know where this is going to land. So what I told him is that if a woman gets upset with you or she says that you hurt her, because his situation was basically that, is that he's unintentionally hurting people and he doesn't, it's hurting him that he's hurting other people. So what I'm wanting him to understand about just what you said, where this stuff is landing when people are hearing what you say, is really not your business. It's really not something that you have to monitor or try to figure out, because, and especially when it comes to women, and the reason why I'm saying that is because of the obvious displays of strength that Black women have. Any woman, people, period, are strong emotionally. We can take things. The problem is that intention doesn't get communicated a lot of times, and that's where the communication breaks down. If you have a woman that's upset with you, okay, because she didn't know your intention behind what you said, what you meant, what you thought, how you felt, she doesn't know the intention behind any of that, she's going to assume the worst, because that's the perception that a lot of Black women have already. We don't trust Black men. There's a whole lot of things going on in our communities that say y'all are predators against us. So whenever a miscommunication happens, or whenever you say something that you probably didn't intend for it to land the way it did, it's not up to you to make it land a certain way. It's just up to you to address the communication that comes after this person lets you know where it landed. If I tell you I'm pissed off because this and that happened because of this and that, it's not about you preventing that whole event. It's just about you knowing how to respond. I used to tell my husband, listen, if you piss me off, you need to be the person to calm me down. It's not about you making me mad. It's about what happens after. And so I would love all my brothers to stop worrying about whether or not you hurt somebody. That's inevitable. Where it lands is where it lands. That's not your business.
Okay. I full-heartedly receive what you said, but here's communication, so let's dive into that.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, everything is rhythm. Everything is music. You can make a drum sound like a snare, but it's a place and time for a drum. It's a place and time for a piano key. It's a place and time for a bass line. If you remove the bass line, then some may say the beat is not complete. If you remove the snare, you don't know the tempo. Okay? So what I mean by that, when we're communicating, okay? And I always say if you have a message and it don't reach the people that need it, then your message don't exist.
I like that.
So remove the water from the soil and the seed, there's no flower. So if my job is to make sure I just pour the water, the plant or the seed, I don't need that much water. I don't need you. My job is just to put this water down and put it down with love, put it down with care, because now it's different layers of communication. When we speak and we make someone upset, right? Most of the time, as a young man, when I was angry, it meant I was either afraid or I was either protecting myself or I didn't understand. Okay? So anger a lot of times is used for a substitution for sadness. People rather be mad because you could just sit there without an explanation. When you're sad, that's a longer conversation. I was upset, I was mad, I was angry because I didn't have a father and my father wasn't there. So showing anger, showing that I was upset, showing that I was mad, that was easier than being broken down and being sad. So we're all communicating on these top layers. We're all communicating, and that's why I said it's music. So you see, as you communicated,
Mm.
I fully listen to you. I'm not going to cut you off. I want to hear you. And this is what we don't do enough. We don't, and not to say, because I don't even want to put black, white, like communication is a language, right?
Mm-hmm.
So me and you could, it's like when they talk about, if you listen to people from the 1800s, have you heard them speak English? That was still another language because it was so different. It's the same thing. If you go on the block, if I go on the block right now, like neighborhoods I grew up in, it would sound like I didn't grow up there because the youth, when it comes to ebonics and slang, the slang is so new and it's so they recreate it. It's a new language. So if me and you go out there talking about fresh and the words we used to use,
Yeah.
they gonna automatically I'm gonna be a cop because it's like where does this dude come from?
Right.
So it's all about timing and communication. So not only where this lands, but now I have to listen because some people don't even know why they respond to what they respond to. Some people, the conversation is over and so as soon as I get upset. And upset could mean that you're just tapping into my triggers. Upset could mean you're taking me further than I allowed to take myself. It was a time that I never wanted to talk about molestation. It was a time that I never wanted to talk about, family. It was a time that whenever you communicated to my triggers, I was going to get mad at you, but I was only using you because now you was making me reflect on a deeper perspective of myself. Mm-hmm. And now, like, how do we get past, even what you just said, it's not my job to care if I'm hurting someone, or it's not my job to care how the thought landed, or whatever the case. But it's so many deeper conversations when we do take the time to pause and we go, what did that sound like? So back to the snare and the drum, like if my love sounds like I'm trying to tear you down, if my love sounds like I'm insulting you, I want to let you know that's not a snare, that's a drum, and that's equivalent to that wasn't pain, that wasn't me tearing you down, that was love. Like I can't get mad at you and you go, black men are this, black men are that, black men are this, because maybe that's the rhythm that you know. I have to not get offended and allow myself to be triggered by your truth, and then allow myself to communicate where I am as a man. Because when we say man, right, man is just black to a racist white person, meaning. You know what I'm saying? So when a white person go, oh, all you black people, you come around here and you like, nah, that's not. Or same thing as father. Or no father take it. Like I had, all my son knows me. I got kids that ain't my kids. I love kids. Mm-hmm. So, when I raise my hand and go, that's not me. Or I go, hey, that's not me. I'm not a criminal. I'm not robbing. I'm not stealing. I'm not. But how could I hate the white man or the white woman that see nothing but negative images that look like me, so she hate me with the same energy that she hate those images? How could I hate women that look at Maury, that see love and hip hop, and I'm the image of that black man she hates? All I could do is be who I want to be. And if you talk to my son, if you've seen my everyday behaviors, if you've seen what I grew from, or if you listen to the story, so you could understand how a man gets from point A to point B. I could say, hey, I was molested when I was young. I was in foster homes. I didn't know how to write, read. I didn't have a father around me. So if I grew up and I hurt a woman, or if I grew up and mistreated a woman, I apologize for where I was at in that moment. But hey, this is where I grew. This is how I grew. This is how I upgraded myself. And without those pains and without those, lessons that I had to go through with myself, I wouldn't have these words to articulate the man that probably hurt you that lacked this growth that I have now.
Okay, so question, what do you feel is your responsibility as a man to be the water and not the poison?
I like that. I like how you said that. What's my responsibility as a man to be the water and not the
I
water?
want to give you a little bit more framework for the question because there's a point behind it. Having the ability to communicate and articulate in such a way that you can be understood and your intentions can be set. All of that to me is the purpose of communication. Intention setting, communication of the intention, things of that nature. So let's just say, for example, you hurt a person, but it doesn't change how you feel or what you said or your intention.
Yeah.
Is it your responsibility to, to fix it? It's nothing you can do about it. It happens, So that's the question.
Okay. The funny thing as you talking, my mind just Google searched a perfect analogy.
Let me get it.
For the question you asked me.
Let me get it.
And you use how could I be the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you were young and you was having a good time and you was in the beach and you went too far in the water and you almost drowned. That was water. You almost drowned in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you walking, it's a cold day, you see the ice, but you like, I'm good. And you fall. You almost kill yourself. That was water that you almost tripped and fell on, right?
You say that the medicine is the poison.
What I'm saying is water comes in different shapes and forms. Mm-hmm. And just because you have an experience with this piece of water at whatever time period, don't mean that water can't transform to the water that saves your life. So my job as the water, I could tell you, like I say, my story. And humans, we're predominantly water, So I live in the same body that used to go in stores and steal. I live in the same body that used to steal cars. I live in the same body that thought I would be dead at 18. I live in the same body that thought I would be a deadbeat father. I lived in the same body that didn't know how to write, read, think, anything. Okay? But with that information, with knowledge, with experience, with time, with patience, the water that makes me who I am now, I'm in the same body, but I am a different person with experience and wisdom and knowledge. So being that water, I want women and people and love and life to know that I have the capability, and with love and understanding, I want you to know that, hey, we may trip and fall like the ice. Mm-hmm. And whether I hurt you, I still can be, I could still be the same source that nurture you on a hot summer day, when it comes to water. Water is not one thing. Water is ice. Water is the ocean. Water is many different things. Mm-hmm. So just like I said, when I was the young man that was making mistakes, when I was the young man that lacked the confidence, so the confidence that broke me down, that made me believe I couldn't grow, I couldn't think, I had no expectations or love for myself. So anything that came into my life, you was going to go through what I put myself through. I'm not going to respect you no more than I respect me. I had no future for myself. The school and classroom ain't teach me how to be a visionary. My mother was a young lady growing and learning. I didn't have a father. Where did the information to grow me, to teach me how to be a man, to give me the foresight, to give me respect, to give me what I can be and what I can do and how I can nurture? I had to break myself down and throw away everything that I thought was valuable to me, because it wasn't valuable. And I had to grow and rebuild and educate myself all over again. So that is what I feel my job is, to show and speak, not to want to appear perfect, not to want to appear like I have everything figured out, to tell my ups and my downs and allow life and whatever you want to say. You said women to not be the poison, but to let you understand that it is beauty, it is beauty in whatever the quote unquote poison is. Okay? Because same thing, a snake bites you, they're gonna use that same snake to create the antivenom or whatever the case to save your life.
Exactly.
So poison could just be a perspective of who I was. But and that's like even the teachers that said I was gonna be dead and I thought I was gonna be dead and that's what I heard. You could say that was a broken poison, broken mindset or a broken person, and I was that. But I'm the same person that nurtures love my children, love my family, and my intent with anything in my presence is to love, So hopefully I answered your question.
You did. And it reminds me of the friend that I'm talking about, because it's very apparent that that's the duality of human nature. And unfortunately, my friend kind of beats himself up about it, that there's this duality there where you can be the poison or you can be the medicine. And I think that's my purpose here, is to make sure that the perception is that you have no control over which one you are. Yes, you can make an effort to be the medicine and not the poison.
What do you mean by that, though?
Because, okay, if you think about the chart of elements, okay, the periodic table of elements, different combinations of those things have different reactions. Some of them violent by nature, some of them soothing, healing by nature, some of them, non-reactive by nature. Nobody can control that. And like you said, we are water, but we are also the elements on that chart. Sometimes you combine your energy with somebody or your elements with somebody. The reaction is naturally not, it's explosive. It's, it could be toxic. It can be poison even. Arsenic. That's on the periodic table. If you ingest that without, having the right combination or the right conditions, you will die by nature.
And like I say, here's let's challenge thought. Before you name or before we put a title on anything that you say is the negative, where is the negative?
It's relative, and I think that's the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying, is that the reaction, the interpretation of the reaction is relative to the person observing it. Okay, so if you said something, it lands on me wrong because of my elemental makeup, okay, who I am. I took it wrong. That's...
You took it right. You took it how you are.
There you go. That's there you go.
And it created a reaction. Yeah,
right.
It created a reaction between us now.
And you didn't intend for that reaction, but because you may not have been aware of my elemental composition, when you gave me that which you thought was going to be medication, it turned out being something more violent and explosive in me. And so what I'm saying is that occurrence cannot be controlled, because sometimes people don't even know their own elemental makeup to even communicate it to you. You understand? So when a person is saying, or you hurt me, and you're like, I didn't mean to, what did I do? What do I do? It's like, half the time, I have a friend right now. She called me the other day and she said something to me that I tried to respond to it because she was having a personal crisis. Okay. I said to her, basically, you're going through a lot of things you don't have to go through. I give her my counseling friend type of, response. She didn't like that. And she's been angry with me because she told me I'm lacking compassion in how I'm talking to her, because I have a very let it go, get over it, move past it, get, through it type of attitude about life. That's how I live. And so like we're talking about, I can only give her what I have in me, in my reserves to give.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she's coming to me with these feelings of needing to be held and coddled and somebody stroke my hair and tell me that I'm beautiful and that I'm okay, and I don't respond to things like that. Because to me, that's not medicine. I'm not helping you at all. To me, if I'm just calling you and babying you and telling you that, oh, life is peachy cream, don't worry about it, you don't have to address your issues, you don't have to think about it, girl, just go take a nap, drink you some, I'm going to tell you to get your shit together, because that's what I consider to be medicine. And so she's telling me that I'm lacking compassion when I'm telling her, or when I'm talking to her. I did everything I could to correct that. So I came back, and even though I don't think it's my responsibility to coddle somebody's emotions, I did make an adjustment because this is my friend. She communicated to me that there was a reaction I did not intend. Okay? I did not intend for my friend to get mad at me. I intended for her to get her shit together and get over it. But what happened was she looked at me differently because she expected something different in this exchange. So I did go back. I adjusted what I said to her. I tried to relate to her and tell her stories of times in my life when I had been in the place that she was in, because this is my real friend. We've been friends since the 6th grade, and we can have conversations like that. So I told her, I was like, okay, you tell me I'm not having compassion, so let me make an attempt. But I let her know during my attempt to fix it that I didn't know what I was doing. Because that's not who I am. I don't do compassion that way. To me giving you the message I gave you was my compassion. I gave you compassion, but you didn't take it that way. So now I'm trying to figure out what else I can give you, but that's not my interpretation of it.
But back to rhythm though. So when you say you don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
It don't mean you right. It don't mean you wrong. Okay? So love, like, let's imagine our conversations like we're watching TV and we could pause. Like, who pause? I paused you and your friend. Both of y'all right there. She right there with her feeling like you're wrong. You right there feeling like you're right. But let's say we could pause that. And let's say now, y'all could both watch y'all, and you right here, she right here, we all in class.
Mm-hmm.
And now she could express herself, the words she's using pop up on the board, the words you're using pop up on the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we go, okay, the way you feel and the way you're expressing yourself, where did you learn that expression?
My mother. My mother was a get over it kind of person too.
Okay. So how did that make you feel when you were young, going through something, and she told you that? Not after you created that, because you know what that is. I call that an emotional curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
So while she was teaching you that emotional curriculum, before you processed it and made it your own, how did that make you feel as a young lady going through what you were going through?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it, because I haven't really posed the question to myself about it. But very specifically, it made me feel dismissed a lot of times. And the only reason why I allowed myself to adopt that philosophy about life is because I found some gold in that. I found some gold in it. Is that, if I'm building this emotional intelligence to the point where I know how to not suppress my energy or suppress my emotions, but I know how to deal with them and move past them, I found gold right there. I found that to be a place where I didn't have to feel dismissed by letting go. And that's what I feel like. It's like my mother didn't give it to me the way I should have received it, which was her telling me about letting things go, dealing with your emotions, not suppressing things, but, actually dealing with yourself, your shadow. But my mother didn't have it to give it to me that way. The only thing she had to tell me was, get over it. And so I just have to,
Now look, when we go back to roots, now let's say, boom. When we speak, boom, now we sit your mother down. Mm-hmm. And we see where the root of her parenting skills came from. Mm-hmm. And when she learned that, how did she feel? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care where pain is. Pain is a language and it's a communication. Pain is respected in every platform of life. Correct. You ever had a teeth pulled?
Yes.
What did the dentist do before they pulled your teeth?
That big needle.
And what was in the needle? What was in the needle?
What do you call it? Anesthesia.
Novocaine, right?
Yep. The numbing.
What is the Novocaine doing?
The numbing.
The what?
The numbing the pain.
Okay. They can't just rip the teeth out, right?
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I ripped them teeth out.
So that's what you did to your friend. You just wanna rip her teeth out with no Novocaine, no respect of the process, and I'm not, because look, in life, the thing about life, right? We could be on our entrepreneur journey.
Mm-hmm.
You could create a system that have you flourishing and that have you successful. I hear an echo. I'm not sure where it's coming from. And it can have you on your highest level of success.
Mm-hmm.
Now, your same blueprint may be the worst thing for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So it's the same thing. Like I'm big on emotional intelligence. Do you know about epigenetics?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay? So
Changing that pattern. Mm-hmm.
yeah, epigenetics, for people who don't know, that's basically the thought and the breakdown that your DNA has memory. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So your DNA, every day you wake up, your internal system, your DNA is in a classroom. So if you enter this classroom Monday and you tell everything inside of you just to lay down and go to sleep and do nothing. Now, once you do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you do that for 2 weeks, your DNA is going to be asleep as soon as you get in the classroom. You're not going to have to tell your DNA to be lazy anymore. So that's basically epigenetics. You're programming your internal system. So emotional intelligence is always vital. Like that's the same. Like I'm big on that. My son understands epigenetics, emotional intelligence, and uh like another thing. Like I say, just communication is key, and that pause, right? That pause to where, like I said, like right now, I'm up. I'm still doing what I need to do, and my son is 15. Like this is the biggest, closest. Like I told you, we just have a loss in the family. I had to like I told my son like, just tell me to shut up if you don't feel I'm helping, right? Because I was a young man that every other day my friends were dying.
Mm.
When I was 11 and 12, so all I knew was death, 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 death. So now I'm trying to give my son advice from my space, where my space was chaotic, and now this is the most traumatizing thing for him to experience someone he was with every day, every other day, and now boom, they're gone. Mm-hmm. And now it's for the first time in his life, like you could really just be gone like that. Mm-hmm. And now, so imagine if I just said, oh, let's go, let's work it, and because I'm strong and I could handle it, do you understand how much I would destroy him?
Yeah, I need to call my friend.
You understand? Like
yeah, I understand where you're going with that.
I will destroy like he's really, for the first time in his life, like, wow. Mm-hmm. Now because my son hit 15, he cool now. Mm-hmm. It's the most hugs I got, like, now he understand, like, yo, my dad, like, mm-hmm. And he probably got that thought, like, wow, my dad. You don't get the conversations like, hey, man, appreciate this. Hey, put that phone down. Now the phone is like, and now it's like, Dad, you need anything? And it's like, just a realization. Mm-hmm. And now, like, this is like I always call it don't ever be ashamed to emotionally upgrade. I call it emotional upgrading. Mm-hmm.
That's imperative about life.
So you heard what you just said. You said, I don't know what I'm doing, and because I don't do it like this. Like that's okay though. Like you gotta go. Like that's okay. Yeah. You gotta where did your system come from?
Yeah, exactly. I was willing. I'm always willing to do that emotional upgrading, always. And so that's why I was telling her, like, girl, I don't know what I'm doing with this compassion thing that you're talking about. I don't know if I can give it to you the way you're telling me. I asked her to, like, give me an example or, like, give me something, like, what do you want? What do you want me to say? But I want to say this as well, because there's always another perspective. And, I have to find ways to make who I am comfortable for me to exist in my skin and being who I am and still knowing that I'm a good person, even if I'm flawed. So with this situation, the way I have designed my personality. I'm gonna say it that way. The
I
way
love
I
to
have,
hear what like just the way you framing this. I want to sit down right in the class with you again. Pause. Sit down. But go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
because there is, there's always some growth and fertility in the darkness of a person. And
Don't define it as that either. It's just growth.
It's just growth. You're right.
No darkness.
You're right. I agree with that. I received that too. So your example, your analogy with ripping that tooth out without any pain, numbing, or anything like that. The way I just kind of heard myself saying in my soul, my inner voice was like, yeah, I ripped first and I addressed the pain later. Because addressing, and the reason why would be because I believe that pain gives you what you need for real growth. It's almost like when you have an unruly child and that child is just doing too much. I know a lot of people don't believe in corporal punishment or pop, but with my son, hey, come here. When he can feel a little bit of pain attached to it. I'm not saying that pain is a solution to behavioral issues, but what I'm saying is that sometimes life does that to you. Mm-hmm. Life causes you to feel pain so that you can grow, so that you can, maybe if a dentist would pull the next person's tooth without a numbing pain or without numbing the pain, that person won't come back in that dentist office no more with a cavity. Maybe they'll take better care of their teeth. You understand? Sometimes the pain is functional. And I don't necessarily think that it's necessary to avoid it or deflect it or numb it all the time. And I'm not saying that I'm the judge, jury, executioner of when somebody should be feeling pain. But if I'm delivering that small little piece of poison that is the actual virus or the anti-venom that you need, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being that voice of reason. I'm okay with being that pain point. When I first met my husband, he told me that I was his reality check because I didn't allow for him to numb anything. And I was like, no, you're going to feel this because it's real. And I want you to feel the realness of it so you can grow from the realness of it. And he'll tell you today that a lot of what I said to him made him recognize his position as a man, and it made him grow. I told my husband when I first met him, I said, I'm going to change your life. And it happened, but not to say that I have to hurt somebody to change them. I don't think that, because I was talking to my cousin one time. She said, Cherise, when you talk to me, it's like you tear me down and you build me up at the same time. But that's because, like I said, I rip you down first. I destroy what I feel, is whatever I'm the energy that I'm trying to give you. I will remove the blockages so that you can receive the building up that I'm trying to give you. And like, for example, with that particular cousin, I would tell her a lot of times that, she was dealing with some situation that was it just wasn't a benefit to her in her life. And I would just tell her, you kind of be in a certain way. I don't understand why are you allowing this, because every time you talk about it, it's not a good report. So something there does need to be torn down. You need to feel some pain of release or some pain of destruction in your life, because at some point, once that happens, what do we all do? We rebuild, we grow, we come out of it, we rise up, we do things that are more beneficial or something comes out of the pain. So what I'm saying is that I'm okay either way. If I'm your pain of point, or if I am the building up of your character, or if I am the hurting of your feelings, or if I am the whatever, I'm giving you my love. And it's okay, because if you think about the way the planet, the way the earth works, the way nature works, she gives us whatever. It's like, if you go swimming in the ocean, you got to know it's all kind of stuff in there that could bite you in the ass. Mother Nature is not going to protect you from that. That's just what's going to happen because of where you are. And if you don't know how to wade those waters, feel that pain, or grow through it and come out of that a better person or more fortified or whatever the case, that you may not be getting all you can get out of life. And so, like I said, for me personally, I don't allow myself to toil too much up here about whether or not something I've said or done to somebody is impacting them a certain way. Now, if they address it to me, then we're gonna talk about it. If I need to change, if I need to grow, I'm gonna put every effort into doing that, because I know I'm not always right. I know that sometimes what I intended to be medicine can come off as poison, like in a situation with my girlfriend, and I am gonna call her. I recognize I'm not always in the superior position, and that I do sometimes need to be the one to come up, and I'm okay with that too. So I think it's like about that rhythm and flow of life that you were talking about, just accepting that I can't control every piece of my, where my expressions might create waves. I don't know, and because I don't know, I know I'm just putting out the vibration that I'm putting out, and how that comes back to me, I'm able to, just take it and roll with it.
And that's like I said, here we go. That is very, very understandable, and it's very true. But and not even a but. I don't think but is. Yeah. It's like it's the balance now, because it's for us to go, okay. Let's just take this analogy, okay? Mm-hmm. Let's say I'm walking across the street with my son. Let's say my son is 5, right? Mm-hmm. And let's say he just runs across the street. Mm-hmm. And let's say he get hit by a car. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's okay, but he get hit by a car. Mm-hmm. Boom, he's pain. And he don't do it again because he got hit by the car. Okay. Now let's say let's say he's about to run, but I yank his hand back and I give him the information. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, I don't know the statistics on pain or information. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like most people wind up in dumb situations, whether it's music, people sign contracts because they don't have the information. People get in relationships because they don't have the emotional or mental information. And then some people are in relationships because they're willing to sacrifice what they don't have to gain a piece of something that they want. So they're willing to suffer. They're willing to promote, like especially with social media. As long as they could have a life that they could get an energy from, they'll post the life they're dreaming of while they're living in the life they're suffering from. So it's all about what you're willing to substitute the life you say you want. But like statistically, I was in class throwing books because I didn't know how to read. If I knew how to read, I wouldn't have never threw books and got out of moments that was embarrassing me, because I would have had the information that allowed me to make different decisions. So it's the same thing with cell phones and technology. If I'm trying to install an app in this phone, look at my hey, baby. My little nugget head. So let's say I'm trying to install apps in this phone, and I can't. So I kick the phone, I stomp on it, and I create all the pain in this phone. Okay, the phone is broken, the screen is cracked. I put damage in the phone, but did I install the app? Now, when it comes to kids and life, I got all the whoopings in the world. I was still empty. I was still empty. Yeah. I still didn't know how to make better choices. Yeah. Yes, I was afraid, so I did different things, but I still lacked the information. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So that's where we have to go to. Is it lack of information? Because of course, pain will make you adjust. Pain, we could beat our children to death. We could insult each other. We could destroy each other mentally. We could talk down to one another. But at the end of the day, do I know how to operate with the perspective that I need to operate? Like I had to heal the broken boy in me. I had to really meet him. I had to really talk to him. I had to really give him the love. That's why I said that video, I don't reject love. Do you understand how many women that hug me and I go, ah, Junior felt that. That's what my mother called me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
First time my mother hugged me, I was 25 years old. Do you understand how many hugs I missed?
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, that's
So pain don't heal that.
right.
Information heal that. Substance
Right.
heal that.
Right.
Growth heal that. Trial and error heal that. So now that's all I am as a father today. I have more information. I've seen more of the world. I've been all around the world. I've seen different perspectives of what people call man. I know how to love. I value love. I was afraid of love. Love was someone's going to hurt me. That's what love meant to me. You know?
I like that you're saying what you're saying because it reminds me of something that just happened in a live I did. I was talking about life being information, the evolution of life.
That's all it is.
About information.
That's all it is.
Information is life. And I just wrote something down because I wanted us to kind of shift and talk a little bit about relationships and parenting. And that's relative about through and through. Information is, parenting is about information because I think all of us have gripes with our parents about not preparing us with enough information to live sustainably and in different ways, in many different ways, especially in our community, in our culture, that our parents were not equipped. We didn't know they weren't equipped though, and I think that's the reason why a lot of us have to heal from having expectations of something that we had no prior evidence to support that expectation. We had expectations of our parents to give us information that they didn't have to give. And we didn't understand that dynamic, that we would be that we would be living in an intelligent world, lacking intelligence. And, looking around like, who was supposed to give me some intelligence? And you figure out it was supposed to be your parents, the closest person to you. And thinking about how a parent feels because they recognize that they're ill-equipped to give you what you need. That happened in my situation. But it kind of hit me when you talk about information. And I want to go even deeper because, like I said, I want to talk about relationships too, because what I wrote down is that relationships should be about learning and learning from each other. One thing I think is a real problem in our relationships, the way we're trying to go about building them, is that we're coming from the place of hurt, of course. Like I said, Black men don't seem to like Black women. I said that in my last live. And Black women don't trust Black men. And so for us to be approaching the situation from that perspective, the learning takes a complete back seat. You can't learn from somebody you don't like. You can if you're conscious enough, but doubt it. Because why would you be with somebody you don't like? And I don't understand that about relationships either. But how can you learn from somebody you don't trust? And so I think that's one of the biggest things about our relationships these days is that we cannot learn from one another because we have not addressed these issues that we have with each other. Typically coming from our parents, lacking the information. And now we're looking at our spouses to become our parents, giving us information that they never got. It's like we're lacking the information. So I think that's one reason why a lot of us, like, I don't know about anybody else, but I use Google as a therapist. Sometimes if I'm feeling something like with my girlfriend, it's not abnormal for me to go to Google and say, what is compassion? And then read 10 articles from the different experts and what they have to say about compassion so that I can understand the intelligence behind it. I need the intel because I wasn't given compassion when I was growing up. No man ever gave me compassion. No job ever gave it to me. You understand? So the emotional intelligence, the information is lacking in our community when it comes to our internal development. And like I said, we're living in an intelligent world, whether it's artificial intelligence or quantum intelligence, natural. The conscious awareness of how much information we're lacking. Have you ever entered into a field of study and you realize how deep it is and how much you don't know? And then you think about all the other things about this world that you don't know. You don't even know what you don't know. So it's like it's a position to be in when you are lacking the information to live. And life is about the information. So I think it's just a really good point that you made, and I feel like we need to put that application into different areas of our lives. Is that we need to seek out actively, desperately seek out information about who we are, about where we are, about how we should be talking to each other, about how we should be aligning with the vibrations of love and peace and abundance and all these other things that we're seeking after, so that we're not living this Instagram life that is not real. I think if we started to get the information, how do I manifest abundance? How do I have compassion with my friends? How do I respect my husband's manhood? I don't know. That's another thing I don't know how to do because I never had a man to respect. And so, it's just certain things I have to educate myself or be educated and allow it to happen. Because if my husband don't tell me, Sharice, you kind of overstepping the line right now, I won't know. It's not a natural thing for me to just be like, oh, I shouldn't talk to a man in this way. And clearly I'm guilty of it, even though I believe, fixed it. I believe I fixed it. But, I would have never known if I didn't have a male guide somewhere to tell me, hey, and this is another reason why I say you can't be worried about somebody's feelings. Because if I need correction, give me what I need. I was listening to a podcast or something today, and something that I've actually told my husband a few times is that, people can only have the understanding that you give them of who you are. You want people to understand you, but many times men in our community don't give the proper understanding. And so it's like, how can you expect for a woman to make, apples out of oranges? I don't know what you are or who you are until you tell me accurately. A lot of people can't even accurately they can tell you something, but is it accurate? You might tell me that you demand respect in one way or the other. The next thing I know, I'm trying to give you that, and you're telling me that's. So it happens. But I think our information does need to be our primary, connector, if that makes any sense, when we're coming to these relationships, whether it be with our children, with our jobs, anybody, the relationships that we're in, we need to make it be consciously about learning. Okay, one more thing I want to say, because I don't want to overtake the conversation, but
don't bounce. Like, it's so much there that I just want to
okay, yeah,
some insight.
Yeah.
My first question is when you were talking about compassion, like you said, you went to Google, you said a man or whatever the case. So my question is, have you ever tried? And I heard you say, I think it wasn't intuitive. I don't know the words you used, but have you ever tried to educate yourself from within?
Mm-hmm. I use combination of methods to acquire knowledge. Like I said, I talk to people, talk to myself, I read, watch.
But that's not educating yourself from within, though.
No, I'm saying I do it from within, but I also use other methods. I educate myself from different sources, myself being one of them. So yes. Even
before I learned about epigenetics, I always used to say you are the first person you ever came from. Mm-hmm. So the thing about that is like a Dr. Sebi don't just wake up, and of course he had people who taught him some of the information he learned. And then, they got the quotes, there's nothing new under the sun. You know what I'm saying? And it's another thing I always used to say. You know, why can a blind man see in his sleep if he never saw something before with his own two eyes?
Interesting. Mm-hmm. He sees thoughts.
If your DNA seen before, you have vision within you. Mm-hmm. So what happens? We look at peace like being bored. We look at finding like, you know, peace and tranquility, like, because for you to even have to, for you to have a bad day, you have to be an accomplice to that day. Mm-hmm. You can't have a bad day without your permission. Mm-hmm. You can't have a bad encounter without your permission. Because everything is how you perceive something to be. So if someone says something to you negative, the negativity starts when you respond. Mm-hmm. You know? Because if I understand my character, who I am, how could I let someone's ignorance bother me? I always say attitudes are evidence of misery. If I understand an attitude as a defense mechanism of pain, why am I going to put pain on top of someone else's pain? You're already in prison with your pain. And anger don't need to be thought about to be expressed. Anger is like anger and fear.
Yeah, the last thing you're doing is thinking.
Right. So anger and fear, that's why emotional intelligence takes place, because you're training the response. Before you get angry, you do what? Before you fear, you do what? Pilots are brilliant with that. Boom, the engine blow up. Boom, the plane is going down. They can't go into panic mode. They have to go into their training. So we are pilots of our own body. Before you get angry and lose all the oxygen in your frontal cortex, because that's what happens when you get angry, oxygen stops flowing to your brain. So before you get angry, what mechanisms do you have before you put up your defense mechanism of anger? And if I'm not intelligent enough to know that that's what anger is, that's why they tell you, even like the little kid that went viral telling his little brother to breathe. When they tell him to breathe and calm down, that's allowing the oxygen to flow back to your brain again. See, so if we going back and forth and we yelling and screaming, we're not communicating. Right. You know, it's intimacy. See, high level conversation is intimacy, and trust starts with intimacy, and that's the brilliance of iPhone, right? Mm-hmm. Steve Jobs is so intelligent. They built software that they always in your phone, but you don't even know they're doing anything. Like, you have no idea. I don't know how the light came on. Maybe they heard me. What's going on? Yeah, like, they're in your phone. That's why they always talking about Facebook and data. They're stealing your data. They're in your phone without you knowing. True love is, I have to communicate with you. Tap into your mind without me tapping into your mind. Allow myself to allow you to feel comfortable, and offer my expression of compassion, truth, honesty, and vulnerability. And vulnerability turns into, he bought me much, let me buy him much this time. Or he gave to me, so let me give. And now when you trust, that's why people go to therapy, because I don't know her. She ain't going to tell the family my business. And it's not that people don't communicate. It's just that, like, this level of communication in this society and these emotional broken people, once you tell me something that you don't want the world to know, as soon as I get mad at you, I'm going to tell the world. It's going to be on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So now you can't even trust me with your closet. And you can't even trust me with your pain. And you can't even trust me with your trauma, because you think it's going to be a Facebook post. Mm.
Yeah, women are guilty of that a lot. I think both men and women, but yeah.
This is the world we live in.
Yeah. There's a lot of respect and trust between us, men and women.
So this is why I strip that from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I tell the world I've been molested.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna do what with my story? I already said it.
Yeah.
I talk to the world like I talk to myself. Nobody know two me's.
Right.
I'm one me. My mother know the same Instagram me. My son, there's nobody like yo, he don't act like that for real. I'm the same me. And this is what people have to do. Yeah. Clear you first. Clear you. Be real with you. Be honest with you. Because if you don't have a real reflection, then that's why you're getting a negative reaction. Mm-hmm. Because you're projecting something that's not true. Not it. Yeah. You know, do you understand how many people are struggling? Do you understand how many people don't know how to pay the bills? They don't know how to put food on the table, but they're projecting this super successful life. Every time you look, they on the beach. Every time you look, they in a restaurant. They taking pictures of their $100 plate. But when they go home, they eating noodles.
Mm-hmm. No furniture. Boy, I see so many influencers without furniture. I be like, what?
but we're in this day and this time where as long as I could just get a piece of the perception, I don't need the reality.
Ooh, talk about it.
You know, just give me a sprinkle. Just give me a sprinkle. Give me a sprinkle of the perception, and the reality could wait.
Listen,
as long as I can meet people that think I'm living that way, then I don't even need it in real life.
But I don't know where that comes from because I don't find satisfaction in that. I feel I have something to prove to myself. I don't know how people are comfortable.
That's the tricky part, and that's the chaotic part. That's why people meet and they clash. Because the people that's living that life, they don't even know to take a picture of the food because the $100 plate is just food.
Right, it's normal. It's like there's nothing special.
The Benz is just a car. It's not even. They don't even say like the Benz is a car. They don't even look at it like it's material. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, and I think that for the people who just want to show it off because they're trying to prove something or they're trying to live this artificial, life. Sometimes I wonder, do they realize that people can see it?
But the funny thing about it being artificial is this world is so tricky because once you create the perception, people do meet you with the energy that is real. Mm-hmm. So even though I'm gonna take a picture with this rented Rolls Royce, even though I'm gonna take a picture in this Airbnb, even though I'm gonna take a picture around all the celebrities, and I'm gonna go home to my mother's basement.
Or den, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go home to my mother's house. You know what I'm saying? So they're home. I'm gonna go home to my mother's home. But every time they step out in the world, they get to go in the spot for free, or they get to do this for free because you have that fake it till you make it perspective. So it's so tricky, and it's like that's why people work on the image, and that's why some people are successful at being unsuccessful.
What God?
That is.
I'll hurt some people today because that is the truth that I
do you know how hard that is to maintain a lie?
Man.
It's maintenance.
I think we all do it in different ways. There's a dynamic to it.
It's maintenance.
It is because in some ways, I believe that has manifestation qualities to it when you're faking it till you make it because it's a little bit having to do with, I think, visualization.
Yeah, even being a visionary, you have to visualize it. And I guess it's like when we're being visionaries and we're creating our new ideas, it's like we have to put it out there enough to be honest and genuine with what we're trying to create. Then like putting it out there and saying, we are this, I have this is mine. Because to believe in yourself, it's like kind of to lie to yourself a little bit. Because think about it, like you could just be broken. You could just feel like giving up. But you get up and you go, I'm going to make this happen. And you don't even know how you're going to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, how do you draw the line? I'm thinking that the source of that energy is how we might draw the line of, is this a healthy image or is this a detrimental delusion?
It's tricky because that works with like marketing and branding because you have like models. I guess it's like you can't believe that the Photoshop face is yours.
Mm.
That's when you fall into the illusion.
Mm. When you
And
go
now
recognize.
now you live in the illusion to the point where you won't allow people to enjoy you.
Mm.
To where it's like I'm not taking my makeup off because you not gonna like me like I don't like me. When the next person may not even care or notice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can't fall into the illusion. That's when I think it's unhealthy.
Mm-hmm. I think
So whether that's the model perspective or whether that's the car perspective, it's like you have to be real with yourself. It's all tricky and it's all things we didn't go to school to understand. Like social media just happened without explanation.
Mm.
And we hit the tail end of it and a lot of children was born into it.
Oh yeah. That's a little scary too.
Yeah. Because they know worlds that we don't even know exist. And like they're teaching us about these worlds they're tapping into. And there's no instructions. You can have your life ruined. You can have your first sexual encounter and just have a goofy kid, your daughter or son is dating, and now you ruin someone's life by putting this video up, and this video wound up online, or you have a fight, and now your life is destroyed, or you got a career and you say the wrong thing. So when it comes to technology and when it comes to broadcasting or when it comes to speaking, when it comes to just understanding how do we because it's all a reflection.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why I'm saying that the duality and the balance of it all is the real part where I feel like we have to educate ourselves, especially like how you said, educating yourself from within. Because what I like to do with my own life is when I'm in this possibly delusional state,
Mm-hmm.
where it can also be seen as visionary potential. What I'm doing is I'm looking at myself from a bit more of a cerebral type of processing where I'm saying, is there evidence that this image, whether it be a delusion or a vision, is there evidence that's going to indicate to me which way to categorize that? You see what I'm saying? Because right now, I'm in a delusion that says I'm a horrible person, for example. We have our negative chatter in our head telling us that we're this or that, we're not capable, we're not worthy, we're not, nice or whatever. And, I see this image of myself and I'm trying to think, maybe feel. I'm not a feeler with my heart all the time, as we're talking about, but I think, is there evidence? If I can feel anything, I muster up my feelings. And I try to align these things together to see what's the evidence indicating to me about this particular image I'm looking at. Is it a visualization or is it me delusional about the reality?
Let me give you this, though. The highest level of thinking is learning how to interpret what your heart is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit. Seriously.
Oh man, I got some work to do.
We do it.
We're not the best of friends.
We do it with our kids. Like, I don't know if you have kids. I don't know.
I have a son. He's 4.
Okay. So when your son walk in the room, you don't need him to say what he going. You already know from that body language. He already talked to you.
Yeah.
But we only care enough. We only care enough about the people we care about to learn what their faces mean. As soon as your son come make a face, you already know what he's saying. You look like your father. You already know what he's talking about. As soon as you see his face. Now that boils down to, same thing with emojis. So if we love each other enough to be able to read each other's expressions, because when you talk about expressions, expressions could be read, feelings could be read. And that's when I was telling you about, like, how long do you sit with you? Everything you feel is a word. Look, I'm gonna show you a trick right here.
Mm-hmm.
I also do like therapy sessions and stuff like this. So I'm gonna show you a trick. I want you to make up a word. I want you to make up your own word right now, like a new word. Like just make up a word.
Let me see. Every word that's coming to my mind is an actual word.
Yeah, but just make a remix. Take two words and make your own.
Let me see. What was I trying to say? Thrombus.
All right. So look, thrombus, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now look, here's where life happens, right here. Thrombus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does that word look like?
It looks like THROMBUS.
No. I mean, what is the picture on that word?
Don't
think about the two words you connected. What is that word? What does that word mean? What is it? Is it a picture?
I think a thrombus is an instrument.
All right. Well, you done pick the instrument, and now you're thinking about a thrombus or something. But look, here is the breakthrough, right? You see how that word didn't have a life? Now, this is what I mean by that. Love.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. You see a heart. You see that word has a life. Mm-hmm. Family. Mm-hmm. Family has every word has a picture and an emotion attached to it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See? That's why people stay stuck in life, because they're trying to grow, but they're dragging the same pictures and emotions with their words.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the key to growing is going inside yourself, editing the negative words and pictures that don't benefit your future. You know?
That makes a lot of sense, especially when we're talking about whether or not there's this image associated with positive or negative things. Yeah. You know, being creators, I think human beings, we're not giving ourselves enough credit for how much of this reality we've been allowed to create just with our thoughts, especially the perception that we have.
And the key to also understand, we didn't create a lot of the pictures that's attached to our emotions.
Exactly.
We were given them.
Exactly. And I think that's the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. We don't give ourselves enough credit for being able to recreate or to be creators, period.
No, but you have to be, that goes with emotional intelligence. Like it's a reason that's not taught in school. It's a reason that is because when you love someone and genuinely love them and you can't grow, it's just because you ran out of information.
Yeah, you got cut off.
Yeah. And now you struggle with the lack of. And the only way to grow is to grow and learn and have some more insight, have some more understanding. Understanding brings you peace. Understanding brings you patience. If you're angry, you're still struggling with what you're struggling with. You know, because growth, just like it was a meme that was so brilliant. It said, manifest quietly. You never heard a tree grow.
Heard a tree growing.
You know?
That's so sad.
So growth ain't the negative post talking about how much you grew past your ex. Like, that ain't growth. You still angry.
Talking about it.
You know what I'm saying? You still mad. You still upset. You still. Peace and love is quiet. Ain't even a post on the page.
Listen, let me tell you something with how I had some internal growth one time. My inner person, this chick, she started talking to me one day. I kept hearing myself say,
it's a piece of you?
Yeah, she was like, well, you know, we have the me, myself, and I type of situation, the Holy Trinity. And
I aligned them.
Yeah, I'm trying. You know, to me, that's a daily battle, is to get all these women in one accord.
How many are there?
Oh, it's a few.
Hi y'all doing? You know? What's going on?
We be lit up in this thing. Okay,
What's up?
I'm a one-lady party. I can have a whole situation in this house by myself.
I'm gonna follow all y'all on Instagram. A whole bunch of them.
Man, for real. It's so many. But when she said something to me one day, because I kept saying, you can't talk to me like that. I'm grown. I'm grown. I'm grown. I kept saying it. And I said, Sharice, you must not believe. She said, Sharice, you must not believe that you're grown. Because you keep announcing it and telling it to everybody. If you were grown, dear, for real, why would you have a need to say it? Why would you need to say it? You know, it's just like the millionaire with the $1 million. And I think that's the reason why I was saying I wonder, do people, when they're posting these fake lifestyles, do they think they're fooling us? Or do they realize that they're only fooling themselves? Because the fact that you're posting it is letting me know that that's not what's, you know, it's like you're sticking out like a sore thumb. And that's exactly what I had to come to that realization myself. It's like you are announcing something because it's blatantly not true. And you're trying to force it into existence by speaking. But clearly you're not. You're not grown because you haven't grown in these ways. And I had to...
No, but look, the tricky thing with the internet is it rewards lies.
Yeah.
So, like the internet, like if it was a government mandate where the internet reject lies, it'd be 3 pages on Instagram. and it'd be 2 definitions on Google.
Yeah.
So the win and the loss is not in the truth or something being false, because all content generate traffic. So sometimes the lie will generate more traffic than the truth. So on the internet, there's no reward either way. So that's where people sometimes is drawn, and the lie is so attractive. So beyond the everyday, when you meet a real person, like there's so many people in this celebrity world where they're not who they appear to be, and the image is for the traffic. The image is for the reward that comes with the clicks of the lie, of the posting, whatever that is, because people eat lies. You know?
Love it.
And that's the thing with life. Like you go to life and you go, you know, Santa Claus, Easter Bunny. You know, they'll tell you, hey, this McDonald's burger is only 40% beef. Like what? Who's looking for the truth? Who's looking for something real? Who? The natural girl and the girl with everything. Oh, my camera that went out. That's the first battery. You know, but this was like an amazing build. But that is literally life in itself.
Yeah, I see. Well, you know, we can always come back because I'm not going anywhere. I'm actually making a commitment to be on social media a lot more often, just to go ahead and further my mission on in business.